What's good, YouTube? Justin Righteous here. I like to yap on world topics. Back with another reaction video. Let's get straight into it.
Being Gen Z is terrible. Okay, that's a bit of an over-exaggeration. Now, trust me, I know that generations complaining about themselves and the circumstances they're brought up in is absolutely nothing new. This is something that's been going on forever. I know that even back in 1938, there was a couple 20-year-olds complaining that they didn't want to go to their paper delivery job. Well, good news, buddy, you're being deployed to Germany. I was born in 2004, which makes me the...
Yo, I wonder, I don't think back in the day they were really, they cared about having a bad job, or they did not. They were just happy to work. They were just happy to make a living. They lived through some world wars, some great depressions, economic disasters. So I think they were just fine with working their 9 to 5. Just look at your parents. They're just fine with the way they live. They're grateful for everything that they have. Unlike us, we have everything. We didn't experience no struggle, nothing. So the slightest inconvenience is not for us.
First generation to grow up with full internet access. It does most definitely come with its perks like YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Grind. With this little brick that has a screen, I can get almost any information I've ever wanted. I can get cooking recipes. I could also find super irresponsible medical advice. I can even find singles within my area. Unfortunately though, we're also the first generation to develop a phone addiction. I spend way too much time on my phone, and I am aware of that fact. I purposely do my best to stay away from the screen time stats because every time I've ever seen it in the past, I am immediately ashamed of myself.
Yo, I don't even look at my screen time because I'm on my phone basically all day. I mean, it's a communication device. It's a tool. It's the most important tool we have in our lives. It's the most important thing we have in our pockets. It's the most important thing that you own. You know what I mean? You could argue that a phone is more important than a house, right? So, I mean, I'm on it all the time, and it's what keeps me productive. It's what I use to do everything that I need to do on a daily basis. So I don't really think there's anything wrong with having a large screen time, unless all you're doing is just scrolling TikTok, scrolling Instagram all day. But I mean, I feel like I'm pretty productive with my phone.
When I see that I have 2 to 3 hours a day on Instagram, it is like the worst post-nut clarity of my life. It's because of short-form content platforms like TikTok and Instagram Reels that I think most people can't hold their attention to anything for longer than 3 nanoseconds. See, but even when it's short-form, there needs to be a bunch of different things going on at once, like colorful subtitles or some sort of Roblox
Which is
gameplay.
crazy.
It's just so convenient because when I'm bored, TikTok's right there.
Because it
but
works.
It seems that almost everybody's attention span is so cooked that nobody can go 30 seconds without being stimulated.
Yo, I heard that ADHD isn't even they're not even considering ADHD a disorder anymore because literally everybody has it. So if everyone has a disorder, can it still be a disorder? That's literally the question that their scientists and experts are asking right now.
Every time I play a game with someone, during the quick 15-second intermission between matches, every attention span is so cooked that nobody can go right Roblox obby gameplay. It's just so convenient because when I'm bored, TikTok's right there. But it seems that almost everybody's attention span is so cooked that nobody can go 30 seconds without being stimulated. Every time I play a game with someone, during the quick 15-second intermission between matches, you're bound to hear somebody's TikTok blast in the microphone. I'm not gonna sit
So
here and judge
facts.
them because I do the same thing. If
Me
we're
too.
already
I
at
do
that
it all the
point,
time.
I don't even want to think about the little 8-year-old kids with iPads. They're gonna grow up picking at their skin like heroin addicts when their iPad dies. My brain is
I live in Quebec, Canada, and they literally yesterday they banned all phones in all elementary schools and high schools, which is crazy, but I totally get it.
is so cooked by the constant 5-second dopamine videos that I think it's really starting to warp what I find funny now. I should be getting to the age where I'm considering starting a family, you know, locking down a full-time job. Instead,
What?
I'm too busy
You're like
analyzing
20
this.
years old.
See, what the seal
Oh
is
my
doing is actually
God.
very smart, but it can also be really dangerous. Older generations weren't addicted to their phones. There was literally nothing to do back then. Nah, bro, they had cigarettes. If you take a look at this chart, cigarette users have been dropping like flies over the past few decades. Probably because all the current users are despawning, but also because people don't want to pick it up. They see the damaging effects that it causes. So, I mean, that's at least one good thing that Gen Z avoided.
Well, they're probably vaping now.
And then vaping came along. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and act all high and mighty and pretend like when I was a teenager, I would never do it, because that would be lying. And lying is wrong. But I'm now in an age where I've come to realize that maybe this isn't the greatest idea for our health. Groundbreaking statement, I know.
Look, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be fully transparent, with my YouTube community. I know a lot of y'all vape. I know a lot of teenagers vape. I know a lot of people vape. I don't own a vape, but I'm gonna be honest. If I'm with a friend, if I'm with someone and they have a vape, I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna take a couple puffs here and there because obviously, it gives you like a little dopamine rush or whatever. So that feels good. But you really need to be conscious about the fact that dopamine that you get from hitting the vape, you don't get it back. Like, it takes time to reset. And if a vape isn't around, if you don't vape, then you're gonna do more productive things to get that dopamine rush instead of just vaping. If you just vape, you're not gonna do something productive that's, something rewarding that's actually gonna get you a real dopamine hit, right? The nicotine is just cheap dopamine.
No. I mean, come on, think of it. These things haven't even been around long enough to see the long-term effects on what it does. And y'all want to keep doing it? Man, for all we know, it could turn us into lizards in 10 years. You know what, man? I think I'm gonna pass on it. I'm cool. Except for at a party. It doesn't really help that these little devices are just so easily accessible. At least with
They're
like
very
a pack
accessible.
of Newports, you can smell them from a mile away. But then you can go through an entire geek bar and smell like you just brushed your teeth. Also, did those anti-smoking
all for
PSAs
the
not
money.
scare you as a kid? It's the old lady with a hole in her throat. She'd always be saying some,
I went through a bag of days in the age of 16.
yo, what the fuck? I don't want to have that happen to me. Like I mentioned earlier, Gen Z's circumstances are much different from what other people had to experience in the past. I'm not gonna say that we had it worse than anybody because, I mean, at least we have entertainment. Genuinely, what was there to do back then but read books? You could gather around the radio and listen to the weekly show. Ooh. You could reread Huckleberry Finn for the 17th time. I don't know how on earth they survived without cleaning videos or Family Guy. However, things weren't perfect for us either. For starters, the entire planet shut down. And, I mean, that kind of put a downer on everything. But that's no worries, because thanks to the strong and responsible leadership of our governments, everything is fixed. And I'm still on track to move out by the time I'm 21 at the latest and have my own house, right? Right? Hey, why is everybody so silent? And why is the average cost of a home now $300,000? See, after that little mishap occurred, prices decided to skyrocket across the planet. Now, it's not just typical expensive things like...
The reality is that I know people younger than me that can afford a house because their parents taught them how to save and invest since they were 12 years old. So you can't blame the economy for not being able to afford a house. You have to blame financial literacy. We should be teaching our kids and teaching everyone financial literacy, but our parents don't even know financial literacy because houses were cheaper back then. So that's kind of the paradox, right? What it is that you have to go seek the information yourself. You have to read books, you have to watch videos, learn about saving and investing, learn about personal finances.
Houses or cars that got more pricey. It's literally everything under the sun. Take a look at a Walmart ad from 2019 and compare it with this year, 2025. What the hell am I looking at?
Yo,
and
that's
these
crazy.
are the prices that we're gonna have to continue paying for the rest of our lives? Yeah, man, honestly, we're cooked. Don't be surprised if in 3 years you see me at the red light district trying to get money for milk. Oh my god, we went to high school together. Oh, yeah, we did. Yeah.
The
You still
eyelashes.
got that 2-for-1 special? Yeah. Anyways, my point is that all this started happening right as Gen Z is about to enter their adulthoods. How convenient is that? Right as we're reaching the age where we can finally establish our own independence. You're telling me now is the time to have a fucking recession? We had almost 100 years to do this, a century. And you're telling me now? By the current age that I am right now, my grandparents would have already had a family with their own house, and I'm sitting here in my room watching Skibbity Toilet and animating Stickmen. By this point, I've pretty much come to terms with the fact that I'm not owning a house anytime soon. And I know for a fact I'm not the only one who feels that way. I see tons of people online who are my age, and instead of buying a house or renting an apartment, they just buy a trailer and live in there. And there's some people who even buy ambulances or school buses and then renovate it themselves. At this point, you can catch me living in a tent on the street. I may smell like a Walmart bathroom, but hey, at least I won't be paying rent of any kind. I'll make one of those little tent fortresses that you can see in some homeless encampments. It'll be pretty cool. I don't think it really helps either that Gen Z is the generation that will own almost nothing. With prices going up left and right, people don't have money just to throw around on shit they don't need. Which is where I introduce you to buy now, pay later. You know, instead of buying something reasonable for things like an iPhone or a game services, instead of paying $15 for your Chipotle outright, you can just do economist of any sorts. But this is dumb. Let's go get that guy over there. Hey, you! Oh, are you talking to me? Yes, of course I'm talking to you. Oh, hello there. Are you tired of shitty energy drinks that are probably horrible for your health? Yeah, they give me kidney stones. It really hurts. That's really gross. But allow me to introduce you to Gamer Subs. It is a cheaper and a healthier alternative to energy drinks and soda.
He got
that means no more kidney stones. How can that
the
be
ads
possible,
on lock.
though?
He
Well,
got the
I'm
endorsements
glad you
on
asked.
lock.
It's because
But
it's
I gotta,
zero
I need to
sugar,
make a
zero
point
carbs,
over here. He
less
said
than 1
something about
calorie, fortresses that you can see in some homeless encampments. It'll be
about
pretty
owning
cool.
stuff?
I don't think it really helps either that Gen Z is the generation that will own almost nothing.
I disagree. Just because we don't own a house, just because, you know, we don't own furniture or whatever, doesn't mean we don't own anything. Mind you, I have a whole setup right in front of me with a monitor, laptop, webcam, all this gear. This is things that I own. These are things that might go up in value, might go down, but they're pretty much assets because I use these to create content. I could sell them for more cash, but the concept of an asset, the concept of things that you own is changing. It's changing big time. And this is the shift that we're experiencing because we don't really care about owning physical things anymore. You know, some people do. Some people, you know, it all depends on what you like, what you want to own. But everyone owns something, and when you figure out what you own and what you can own that's like particular to you that you want to do, your life is going to get a whole lot better and you're going to understand your purpose a lot more.
With prices going up left and right, people don't have... Let's say you're somebody like me who doesn't like to be caffeinated 100% of really good ones. My favorite currently being lean. Off your order. Feel like a SoundCloud rapper. If you use my link, you get 10% plaguing the men of Gen Z over the past... And now, back to the video. This is something that has been plaguing the men of Gen Z over the past few years. There's been an epidemic of alpha male influencers rising online lately. They set such an unbelievably high bar that it's ridiculous. Just a couple months ago, you had that guy, Ashton Hall, who did this absolutely stupid morning routine. They set such a high standard that I'm convinced they don't even do half the shit that they preach.
My day is 6 a.m. to noon, and I'm not crazy. My second day starts at noon and goes till 6 p.m. That's day 2. And then the next day is 6 p.m.
I must maximize my time, which is exactly why I have 2 days in one.
You sound like a cartoon villain. I swear, there needs to be some type of tax on podcast equipment, because why does everybody feel like they need to have a podcast and give the worst advice?
2 days in one.
You sound like a cartoon villain. I swear, there needs to be some type of tax on podcast equipment, because why does everybody feel like they need to have a podcast and give the worst advice imaginable?
Hey, look. I think that's what the internet was made for. Everyone should go ahead and start a podcast. Everyone should go ahead and make content. Everyone should go ahead and put the universe that's inside their brain onto the internet to make it accessible to everyone. This is what the internet is for, and this is where the future is headed, because I want to know what you know. I think that everyone has their own special superpowers, their own special values that they can contribute to the world. So this is why everyone's making a podcast, because it's accessible.
Because why does everybody feel like they need to have a pod?
Accept her rejection. I'm a professional dating coach.
Hey man, don't
Oh
even
my
think about
God.
considering this advice. This is the worst thing you can ever do. Anyways, that's pretty much all I have to say. Thank you guys so much for watching.
All right, that's it for the video. Thank you for watching. Shout out to Tokimon. He makes really great videos and he's really funny. I'm gonna put the link to the original video down below. Y'all go ahead and show him some love, like his video and everything. You know, it's gonna help him for the algorithm and everything. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Do you think Gen Z is cooked? Do you own a house? I really want to know. So thank you for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.